Did someone say playoffs? That's right, playoffs, and the Washington Commanders have been fighting each other like Ike and Tina. But for the first time since 2020, salute your Washington Commanders, your Washington football team, whatever you want to call them playoff bound. The Commanderlorain is ready. We got one last gift under the Christmas tree. Santa Claus bought out the big bag for this one. Jaden Daniels delivers another masterful performance and runs the Commanders into the playoffs. Now with a chance for the 6th seed and maybe a trip out west. We'll talk all about it. Commanders winning overtime, 30-24. You guys know the drill. If you're in the chat right now, make sure you subscribe. Hit that like button. Hit that bell. We're going live with the Washington Commanders postgame show on the #1 post show, The Late Show. Tonight, you're staying up late, and we're keeping you up all night long. Not much else needs to be said. Play the goddamn song, Crevonte. Those haters can't stand us. Left hand up. Commanders. Fight for. Those haters can't stand us. Left hand up.
Finger licking good special. That's what I'm talking about.
Playoffs, Crevonte. Did you think you would hear those words uttered in week 17 heading into week 18 after all you've been through, my brother? This is your moment.
No.
How you feeling, my brother? What a game.
Man, what a game. What a game. I'm about to throw the virtual back on.
Yes, sir.
What a game. What a game. I don't even wear hats. This is not even I don't even wear hats. You know what I'm saying? What a game. What a game. What a game. What a game. Hear these thoughts, brother. Hear these thoughts. You are welcome, brother.
Big shout out to Brother Thoughts.
You are welcome, brother. I'm ecstatic. I am ecstatic. Jaden Daniels is continuing to prove why he's him. Continuing to prove why he's him. And he's getting to the point where it's like, dang, if he get the ball at the end, I feel good about my chances. And that's a good trait to have because you need him in this game we call football. But wow, what a game. What a game.
Sunday Night Football, Crevonte. How does it feel to not only have this moment, but it be in front of the world, new, old, and just fans of football watching your team? We got a great game. I thought we would get a good game. Michael Penix looked pretty solid from what we saw. What a game. I thought we would get a good game. Michael
Amazing.
Penix looked pretty
absolutely amazing. Michael Penix out. Atlanta's gonna be all right. Atlanta is going to be all right. And we said this. well, I always go back to our draft profiles, man. Go back and look at them, y'all. If y'all not hip, we talked about this guy. He's one of them ones. The most surprising thing is that he's at Atlanta. I wasn't surprised at where he was drafted. I was surprised at who drafted him, because the Falcons just got $180 million guy. Why are you picking a quarterback? What, 7th, 8th overall, whatever it was, top 10? You know what I'm saying? Why are we doing that? It was a head scratcher, but we knew it was a guy, and we also knew Kirk Cousins probably wasn't going to last. Probably wasn't going to last long. But man, it's not enough I can say about this team, this organization, what we've been able to do in a year's time. I can't wait till we get a real legit off season, and another year to try to get this roster completely turned over. But in a year, Dan Quinn deserves Coach of the Year. He deserves votes for Coach of the Year. Adam Peters deserves votes for Executive of the Year. I don't know if they do. Do they do Owners of the Year? I don't know if they do that. But Josh Harris would
No
deserve
Owners of the Year.
And of course, Jaden Daniels is offensive, definitely offensive rookie of the year. It's without question, at this point.
Crevonte, let's look at this game, and as you see, as I bring up the screen here, there we go. 30-24, ended in overtime. I mean, what can you say about Jaden Daniels? Pretty much running this team literally into the playoffs. 16 carries, 127 yards, 25-yard long, 24 of 36 through the air, 227, 3 touchdowns. He did have a pick. Was sacked 5 times. We'll get into the injuries of the offensive line.
Yes,
100.1 rating. Now breaks Robert Griffin III's former Washington Redskin, former Washington football team, former Washington Commander organization quarterback. Most rookie rushing yards in NFL history for Jaden Daniels. Another notch on the cap. Like Brother Thought said, it looks like that offensive rookie of the year is all but wrapped up in his favor. And what can you say about your QB1? I think this pretty much was his moment, his primetime moment.
But that was last week. Like that was last week. His biggest moment. And then he goes to primetime and he basically one-ups himself. You know what I'm saying? It's not much I can say. He's a baller. He's a winner. He does whatever it takes. Listen, man, I was over here like cringing because he kept running, and I was like, "Oh, they're gonna hit him. They're gonna hit him. Oh boy, they're gonna keep hitting him." Just, oh, get off of him. Oh, it was so much, but he does whatever it takes to win, man. And we gonna definitely get to them injuries because it didn't matter. If he had the ball last, this is going to be the outcome. And my gosh, really accurate. He completely ran the show. Like I don't think people understand how crazy this is, how much power and control he has of this offense. And Cliff Kingsbury completely believes in him. And Dan Quinn completely believes in him too. Like, how many 4th downs did we go for it on? Like, it's absolutely crazy. But he's a superstar. Like, crazy to say. Like, he's a superstar now. He's a phenom. You know what I'm saying? And man, it feels good to be on the winning side of things because it's been a very long time. Very long time.
Well, let's get to those injuries, Crevonte. I mean, that was before the game. I think yesterday I even seen during the NFL triple header on NFL Network. Marshawn Lattimore was out. I believe that was the first name I saw, and immediately I'm like, oh, here we go again. I guess we won't see him into the playoffs. But talk a little bit about the injuries coming into the game as I pull that up, and then into the game. I think 3 of your linemen end up leaving the game.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So Lattimore was out. He was pretty much out, and I believe Andrew Wiley did not play. He was out as well. So that's our right tackle. Those the biggest biggest and most concerning injuries. Off the top of my head. Tyler Badass went out. He went out kind of early. So we had a backup center in the game. My gosh, it was I think Mike Davis, our corner, he was out for a little bit, but I think he ended up coming back. But yeah, our offensive line was in shambles. I was very concerned for Jaden Daniels. But when you got it in, he got the it factor. He got the it factor, and the it factor. It's hard to describe, but you just know when you see it. Through all the injuries, all everything, Terry McLaurin nowhere to be found in this game. You know what I'm saying? And he's still able to find guys and make plays, man. And it was work of art, man. Absolutely a work of art. And we'll get to the defense. We'll definitely get to the defensive side of the ball too.
Well, let's continue with the offense of the Commanders. We had the running game. Outside of Jaden Daniels, Brian Robinson, 13 for 60. Chris Rodriguez had a lot of big-time plays in this game, 5 carries, 16 yards. Zacchaeus had over 8 yards. Jeremy Nichols, 1 for 5. You guys rushed for over 216 yards, 6 yards a carry. That helps when your quarterback gives you 127. But I think the key to this offense, Crevonte, is the running game, man.
Wait. Hey, you kind of sound kind of muffled, but
Did I go up?
Huh?
Yeah, Jaden Daniels, 127 yards, 216 as a team.
That's crazy. 127 yards rushing, along with his 227, passing. This is just another one of them stamp of approval games. Now the running attack, it was better than last week against the Eagles. We were able to get some good yards. I'm glad Brian Robinson was finally, getting himself together, because last week it wasn't a good showing, but he was able to come back and be somewhat effective. He had 4.5 yards a carry, so that's always good. Rodriguez came on kind of late. He came on late, fresh legs during that drive where I think that was our second double digit, drive, multiple, 7-minute drive. So it was definitely a collective effort, but for sure led by Jaden Daniels. He is the icing and cherry on top of this rushing attack. Damn, he might be the cake too. I'm not sure, but he's definitely God, man, it's just crazy that he has 127 yards. That's a lot for from a quarterback, but he's a leader, passing and rushing.
So, Crevonte, how do you feel about let's get to the receivers. We talked about it. Scary Terry. Well, it was scary hours because we didn't really hear much from him. He only had, 1 catch for 5 yards, 7 targets. Brian Robinson, 2 for 9. Nobody really in the receiving game, 3 for 25. Zach Ertz, 6 for 72, 2 touchdowns. And Olomide Zacchaeus, the former Falcon, 8 for 85, a touchdown, 9 targets. He was eating early and often. Him and Ertz. Ertz, 2 touchdowns again. I mean, these are your 2 go-to guys with no Scary Terry today. But the offense still got done in the receivers.
Ain't that crazy, man? Shout out to AJ Terrell. Shout out to AJ Terrell, because he put the clamps on my boy. He put the clamps on my boy. And that 1 catch he had, I think, was in the first half. At some point. But Cliff Kingsbury was like, hey man, we want to spread this thing around, because what I'm saying, with Terry McLaurin, he's going to draw the best, the defensive back, and AJ Terrell he's pretty damn good. And if he's going to take him away, cool, we're going to spread this thing around. Zacchaeus has come alive. Crowder has been in the mix. And of course, Zach Ertz is a great security blanket as well. So, we have to spread it around, man. We don't have our, Noah Brown from the Maryland Miracle, the Landover Miracle, whatever I don't even know what we call it, whatever we call it. He's
Hail
on our
Maryland.
he's on our, so he was our second guy, and this is literally the next man up, because we got guys, don't nobody, none of these guys are household names, none of them, and Jaden Daniels is turning them into household names, which is another aspect of being a leader, and all that, making people around you better. He's definitely doing all that.
How do you feel that the offensive line did do despite the injuries? I mean, obviously next week you go to Dallas. We'll get to that in a little bit. You don't have to play guys, but with a win, you guys could be as high as 6 and hear these thoughts as Rams in LA.
You know what? That's really, really crazy. And I want that Dallas game. I told you before the season started, I want that Dallas. I want that Dallas game in Dallas, especially if they beat us already. As a selfish Commanders fan, I want Dallas. I want to put Dallas in the dirt like the Eagles did. But we could use this as an opportunity to rest up and get a little bit healthier, because we don't need a game. But it is an opportunity to get to 6. I guess it depends on how the it doesn't. I guess it matters how they feel in a matchup against the Rams. Or
how do you feel in the matchup against the Rams? You want the Rams? You want the Rams, or you want the Eagles?
That's crazy.
You want one of your former boys? You want your former boy McVay, or you want to go back to your divisional rival who you beat and you're familiar with on the road this time?
You know what, bro? I don't know.
But Jaden Daniels on that SoFi turf, perfect, ideal Southern California weather in January. He can run around a little bit. We know the Rams have a good defense. Kyron Williams, Puka, and Cooper Kupp, though. It's a lot of
yeah, man. That offense, but Sean McVay, man, both are gonna be tough. I can't say one that I would like to see more than the other one, because they both present very bold matchups. You know what I'm saying? High powered, both high powered, really high powered offenses. Puka Nacua is going to have a field day if we don't have Marshawn Lattimore on this field. Like, he's gonna have a field day. Cooper Kupp, Matthew Stafford. That offense is gonna be crazy to stop. And they defensively, they got some young guys that's coming off the edge with the Rams, with Berth. And they present some problems. They're going to present some problems. And we do have Fowler, who is an ex-Ram, so that hopefully he would get up for that game. But I mean, I don't know, man. I really don't know. I guess the Rams, our saving grace would probably be that the Rams haven't played us, so it would be a lot to handle, as opposed to the Eagles, who we know very, very well. By that time, I'm sure Jalen Hurts will be back, so they'll be at full strength. It's going to be tough, but I think if we play the Rams, I think it's going to be a shootout. I think it's going to be a shootout.
Crevonte, let's talk about these penalties. 13 for 108 yards. You win in spite of that. Can't have that in the playoffs. But you did win time possession 41 to 25. I think you guys ran over 70 plays, like 75 plays almost. So you tied the Falcons out chasing around Jaden Daniels, man. That's a lot of work for 70 plus plays.
But also the key timing of those. That was second half. That was all second half. The Falcons, at the end of the third quarter, the Falcons only had the ball for 2 minutes. And we had it, the rest of that quarter. We came out of halftime game. I think it was a 15-play, 7-minute drive. The Falcons 3 and out. Then we came back with another, 7-minute drive. And that second 7-minute drive, you could tell they were gassed. They didn't have nothing. They didn't have nothing for none of us. You know what I'm saying? And that's when sometimes you have to turn the game into that. You know what I'm saying? And we were very balanced. We were running the ball, passing. Our offense looked really good. Like Cliff Kingsbury in the second half called a hell of a game. So shout out to our offensive coordinator, but definitely got right in the second half, and we can be a ball control, ball dominant offensive team when we want to be. So we're going to need that going into the playoffs. But goddamn, these penalties, man. Every other play we was holding in that first half, it was holding. Offensive plays, and that's why we couldn't really sustain any drives in the first half. We kept started behind the sticks, 1st and 20. Here's a false start, 1st and 15, 2nd and 15, 2nd and 20. Like we kept starting behind the sticks, and that's not good. But we were able to, like you said, we was able to overcome despite all of the penalties. But we're gonna lose in the playoffs. We're gonna lose in the playoffs if we come in there with 10. How many penalties we had? I know we had double
13. 13.
Yeah. We're gonna lose. We're gonna lose whoever we play. We're gonna lose because anybody in the playoffs is gonna take advantage of that, and we're gonna lose because we don't have that type of offense where we can just. And Jay Daniels is the man, but we can't put that type of on him. He gonna have to put his cape on every play. You know what I'm saying? And that's not a winning. That's not a winning, formula. So definitely got to clean that up. But that's also a lot of the, the offensive line, a shuffling those guys in and out. It's no chemistry, So it's tough.
Daniels has 30 combined touchdowns, ties Russell Wilson for third most by a rookie quarterback, and as I mentioned, passed Robert Griffin III for most rushing yards with now 864. Ertz became the 9th tight end in league history to eclipse 8,000 yards receiving, and Drake London, Crevonte, 7 catches, 106 yards. He did reach 1,000 yards for the first time in his career, surprisingly. I say this all the time, Crevonte. I think one thing about championship caliber teams, they can win and play from behind. We see it all the time with the Chiefs. A question we asked a lot with the Ravens over the past few years. Double digits at home, on the road. Can you play from behind? Do you panic and get tight, or do you still play your game? And the Commanders down 17-7. Defense pretty much only gave up, 7 points in the second half, and that was on that last drive. Mm-hmm. And we can kind of transition into the defense as we get there as well. Playing from behind, Crevonte, you see that you guys are able to play from behind, even with some of the struggles you've had offensively with the O-line and the penalties.
Yeah. So, that just makes me think that, that the potential is crazy for the team. Like when we're able to really go into the draft and get like another weapon, maybe another pass rusher, we're building on this foundation. This is a great foundation that's being put together and being constructed. And we don't have any household names outside of Scary Terry, really. You know what I'm saying? And Jaden Daniels is obviously making himself into a household name. But when we get some guys and get these guys, locked in and give Adam Peters this opportunity to 100%, him and Dan Quinn, 100% opportunity to flip this roster 100%. Oh man, we are going to be something to deal with for years to come. And that's in the conference and the division and league. And the defense is only going to get better.
Well, Crevonte, let's get to that defense right on cue. We see our boy Dorrance Armstrong. We saw Jonathan Allen back in today. Yep. What did you think about the defense, Crevonte? Let's go down the list. We had a sack from Dorrance Armstrong, a sack from Dante Fowler, 2 sacks, but a lot of pressure on Michael Penix. What did you think about the defense? I know we saw Mike Davis get burnt a little bit. That penalty at the end of the game almost cost them, but they missed the kick. What did you think about the defense today? No Marshawn Lattimore, of course, but the front of this defense is the strength, right?
Absolutely. Especially my linebacking core and pretty much the interior of the defensive line and the linebacking core is where our strength lies. Man, we just out there bending and trying not to break, man. Just trying to hold it together, man. And we did the very best we could because they got some weapons over there in Atlanta and on that Falcons team. And we did, and in the secondary, listen, y'all did your best, man. Benjamin St. Juice was out there, so I was side eyeing, but had a lot of pressure on Penix. He wasn't. He really didn't play much in the second half. Now that I think about it, but the defense did what they had to do. They dug in when they absolutely had to do, and when they needed stops, when they gotta have it stops, they were able to come through, and they started the game off with an interception. So that was a good sign, as well. But shout out to the defense. The defense deserves quite a bit of credit for this game because they played a lot of bend but don't break, and they did not break, thankfully.
Like you said, Crevonte, how do you see this defense having another game before the actual start of the playoffs to get things right defensively? Jonathan Allen gets another week healthier. Marshawn Lattimore, sit your ass in bubble wrap for another week. What do you see the upside of this defense? Today we saw the offense. We see, okay, we can take Jaden Daniels, go win a game for us. Use your legs. Like we say about Lamar and all these other guys. Use your God-given ability. Go use those legs. Josh Allen, etc. The offense, they're up to the task. What do you think about the defense?
Defense, I think you're right. You're just that we're another week of playing together. Like this team has played together for 15, 16, week 17 weeks. You know what I'm saying? So there is some chemistry. It's just that we're not talented. You know what I'm saying? We got a couple guys here and there, but we're not talented, especially in the secondary and at defensive end. We're not talented. So we're doing our very best. And shout out to Fowler, because he's overachieving right now. He's playing some really, really good football. And Dorrance Armstrong playing some really good football. They're working really, really hard, to make up for the, lack of talent and all that. But man, they are getting it done, and I'm just hoping that Marshawn Lattimore, we need him. If he's not playing in the playoffs, we might sink. We might sink. Hey, my guy, what up, man?
Look who just stepped in the building. Drizzy Dre, the one and only OTC, the tribal chief, the flex on my side himself. Drizzy Dre, what's going on, my guy? How you feeling, man?
Hey, man, after that type of victory, man, I had to hop in.
How you feeling, man?
Acknowledge me.
I know I give him hell rightfully, but man, oh man, am I happy for you, for real, man. You guys found your guy. We thought you had it with RG3. Unfortunately, injuries happen, but man, oh man, JD again. And then also though, happy for the NFL overall, because not only did they get a good game this Sunday night, they're going to get a good one next week too. So we're seeing the future right now and the present when we're talking about these next 2 weeks of football. But man, oh man, what a great game from two future black quarterbacks out there. This game could have went either way, but for JD to put that game on his back, literally putting the team on his back with the way that he was able to extend plays, rushing, and just moving the football, man. I mean, what a great game. That DC, I know that fan base, man. That stadium looks sold out.
Word.
And then
I was just about to ask Dre, how did you heard it through the TV? Crevonte, Dre, I mean the crowd. We mentioned to Crevonte, y'all are undefeated in December.
Yikes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they are. And I mean, you saw what he would be in college, so it was no doubt that he was going to have an impact on this team. But I think last week with that Philadelphia win, he solidified being Rookie of the Year. I mean, it was no doubt he was going to be Rookie of the Year anyway, but he definitely solidified himself. And if this had been any other year, he would also be in the MVP conversation because what he's been able to do. Dan Quinn should be in Coach of the Year category as well. What they've been able to do. Washington overall, man. And then they also spoke on it tonight. We've talked about it here on the podcast, but they spoke about it tonight on Sunday Night Football. That RFK Stadium, there's talks about that stadium coming back to DC. And that's, I think, the last missing piece. You guys have the excitement, you got the quarterback, you got new ownership, so you're moving in the right direction. The last piece to me is just making sure that that stadium is in the heart of DC to make sure that everything just comes full circle for you guys.
Crevonte, your thoughts on the crowd? Obviously, you'll be playing on the road in the playoffs, but having that energy tonight kind of carried you over the threshold a little bit, I think, also.
Listen, man, I'm just glad that there is majority Commanders fans in that motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's been in the past, few years, man. Folks have come into our crib and taken over, and now that's not a thing. At least for this year, it's absolutely not a thing. And it's we have legit something to cheer for, and this fan base has been dormant for very long time, man. Very long time. Like, we got fans of all ages that's been waiting for this, and they all come out and they all show up and they all show out, man. And they bringing back the old school Redskin gear and all that. You do. And the young cats got all the 5 jerseys on and all that, man. It's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful sight, man. And even though it's at Northwest Stadium right now, but Dre, you're right, man. It's looking like as the days go on that RFK may be able to be rejuvenated. And since we're possibly putting together a new facility, is going to be the latest and greatest, which means the Super Bowl will not be far behind it.
They thinking dollar signs in DC.
Come on now, it's going to be a dome. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be with the latest and greatest technology, which means within probably the next 5 years or whenever it's done, a Super Bowl, we'll host a Super Bowl. And that's most on the business side, but I did think things are finally turn around, and these are just like you were saying, like, hey, ownership, GM, head coach, quarterback. Now it's time to turn it up. Now it's time to get this place right. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, that's what we're looking at now.
And for an NFL team, they always say the basis is when you have good ownership, good coaching, and the quarterback, everything else will fall into place. So it seems like you guys are finally headed in the right direction. Like I said, you had a quarterback with RG3, but then there was some RG3 started smelling himself, as the old folks would say. But then also it didn't help that the ownership was all in dysfunction as well. Now it's like, okay, things are lining in place. And you see the total difference between what Jalen Daniels is compared to a Caleb Williams. And that's not to take away his talent or to say that he won't develop into a quarterback. Because Byron, we both picked Caleb to make the playoffs. But you see dysfunction right there with the head coach. You see that the general manager doesn't seem on the same page as the ownership. Yep. And you see what happens, because you can be talented. Like, I even throw in somebody like a Joe Burrow, who can be talented and do everything possible. But then if the management is not there or the coaching is not there, it's just things will just fall apart. So it seems like right now Washington is in the right place. And like I said, we can't even take away nothing from the Falcons either, because you can see with the Falcons, you can have a bad signing, and as long as you got the guy, and they know that they had the guy, or else they wouldn't have put Penix in it. There's no way that we see that type of game that we saw tonight. Like I said, it was a seesaw matchup. So if Kirk Cousins is in there, that Washington game isn't even close. But because Penix is in there, and especially that fourth quarter, that last drive to send it into overtime,
Yes.
there's no way that Kirk Cousins sends that in there. And it's not to say that he's not a decent quarterback, but you just see the future and why Atlanta selected Penix as highly as they did. And they're moving in the right direction too, because now you also see Drake London, you see Kyle Pitts, you see Robinson, you see all the weapons that they had. They weren't able to really use it like that, but now they're starting to. You're understanding why they picked these guys highly, and now Atlanta can move forward. But we want to give them their flowers. But now Washington, I think Washington. I don't know we won't know the exact matchups quite yet. We know who's locked in, but I don't think.
Well, if Washington wins next week, Dre, they got the Rams. The Rams are the 3.
That's gonna be
the Eagles are the 2.
That's a toss-up game, man, because either team could win that. Especially, I think you don't want to see Washington when you see the momentum
Dre,
that they have.
I mean, you're going to get Eagles Packers potentially. That's a matchup that's going to be crazy because the Packers will be the 7, and then the 5 is going to be the loser of Detroit and Minnesota. The winner will be the 1 seed.
Wow,
man! I mean, we talked about college football playoff excitement, but that first round matchup, NFL excitement, and it's always an upset that we don't see coming.
It's always one.
And I could see Washington. To me, it's not an upset if Washington does win, but that would be considered an upset for Washington to have a rookie quarterback going in there winning a playoff game. I'm excited to see what's going to happen.
Real quick, Crevonte, before you go, Bijan, 17 for 90 yards. Didn't really use him in the second half, 2 touchdowns. Drake London, 100 yards, his first 1,000-yard game. Kyle Pitts using him as well. What do you think about special teams also? And I guess from an Atlanta perspective, moving forward with Penix, looks like they have their guy.
Penix, well, the last thing you said, Penix, like we said earlier before Dre hopped on, Penix, they have their guy. They have their guy of the future. And now, despite them still currently having the $180 million guy, they definitely have their guy of the future. Special teams, man. I think my guy, I don't think we missed any field goals. I think that's what's important, man.
1 for 1, Crevonte, 1 for 1.
That's it, 100%. That's all I need, man. You hit all the PATs. That's it. Because we know how inconsistent the kicking game has been this year. And that's all I need. Whoever's in there, Gonzalez in there, hey man, you just zone in. We just going to try our very best to put you in the best spot. And yeah, you kick that thing through the uprights and we get up out of here, man. I saw Luke McCaffrey. He had a couple good runs. And of course, you know, my man Tressway, he always gonna average around 50 yards. So 50 yards on his punt. So he flipping the field position. So that's always good. I think was that 61 was his long. So you know,
yes,
that's always good. So I think I could check all the boxes as far as Tressway, Gonzalez. I think Crowder was on punt return. I think we were pretty solid on special teams. So I'm cool with the performance.
All right, guys. I do have the week 18 schedule. I got all the scenarios in front of me. I'm getting it up on the equipment. I got it loaded up, but real quick, I got Dre here. We're gonna go through all that in a second. Week 18, Crevonte, the final week of the season, but obviously the playoffs. Dallas. You get them in Dallas. You've been wanting this game. You clinched the 6th seed with the win, so you're playing for something. You can keep your guys motivated. And like I always say with the Ravens, maybe it's a situation by fourth quarter, you got the backups in and you're getting a little extra time to rest, getting ready for next week.
That's what I would like. If how bad do they want the 6th seed? If they want it, go get it. Don't play with the Cowboys. Get in, get out. It needs to be like how the Eagles just dealt with them. It's a game that needs to be like that, except a lot earlier. So maybe midway through the 3rd quarter, hey man, this game's over. You know what I'm saying? So, and I told you before this, I want the Dallas game. I want to beat Dallas in Dallas. That's what I want.
I bet.
So that would be a great exclamation point. on the season. So it depends on what the coaching staff wants. If they cool with the 7th seed, I imagine Dan Quinn is not cool with it and just resting. You know what I'm saying? If he could get better, he's going to take the opportunity. And so I'm with it. So and as a selfish Commanders fan, I want Dallas. So you know what I'm saying? I hope they play to win.
Real quick, Dry, ask you a question. Are they going to be goofy and keep Mike McCarthy in Dallas real quick?
Yes. You know what, though? Honestly speaking, I don't know if it's goofy. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know if it's goofy because we were literally just talking a few minutes ago about instability. Management with Dallas seems has instability there. What I can say, though, 3 seasons of 12-plus wins, reaching the playoffs.
No Belichick out there. No Belichick out there.
Belichick is off the table.
Getting Dak Prescott he was an MVP runner-up. Remember, guys, last year it was Lamar Jackson who was almost unanimous, but Dak was the other guy to be right in the MVP.
If they can't get Ben Johnson from Detroit, they might as well keep McCarthy.
Yeah, they're not getting Ben Johnson. So
they saying he might go to Chicago.
He should.
Oh gosh, don't take that job. I mean, I like it.
I'd rather take the Dallas job. Goofy as it might sound. At least you got a quarterback.
But I think that I don't actually mind McCarthy being there. He's not, as much as we talk about him, I don't put the onus really on McCarthy as much as I do ownership. I think because, I mean, he's had the Packers job, he's had the Dallas job. He's won a Super Bowl with the Packers, and he's actually put Dallas in the conversation to be, outside of this year, a contender. So the fallout has really been on the management side. So McCarthy's actually a pretty decent coach. So I don't think it's goofy if they keep him.
We'll talk more about that. We got the Week 18 schedule, fellas. Y'all ready to go around the league real quick and talk about some of these possible scenarios? Obviously, we'll tomorrow go more in depth. But everybody, if you haven't already, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell if you're new. We do this after each Ravens game, after each Commanders game. And next week, I'm making an executive decision. I'm going to go live around this time. I'm going to break down the first look at the playoff bracket because we're going to get the playoff review after Sunday Night Football. So if anybody wants to pull up, hop on with another, as Crevonte calls the late show, we're going to go live and give you, like nobody else is, the first initial reaction to the playoff matchups. We'll have the networks and all that fun stuff a week from tonight, guys. Can you believe it? But let's get it. It's an AFC North Saturday. I knew they were going to do this, Trey. I knew they were going to put the Ravens on Saturday. And it just so happens a week where God's favorite host actually is trying to go out of town. But that's another story for another day. They play 4:30 on ESPN and ABC, and then the Steelers and Bengals. Big game for the Bengals, guys. Bengals win. They have a chance to get in. They beat the Broncos yesterday. We'll get more into that. But how about that? Browns and Ravens, and then Bengals and Steelers. Real quick, Sunday, 1 o'clock. Bills, Patriots, Saints, Buccaneers, Panthers, and Falcons. Falcons must win. Colts are eliminated against the Jags. They don't care about that. Saquon, 101 yards away from breaking the record. He'll probably break that by halftime. Commanders look to get the 6th seed with the win over the Cowboys at 1 o'clock. Packers, Bears, and Titans, Texans. Afternoon, Chargers and Raiders. Chargers are in, and the Rams are in against Seahawks. The Jets and Dolphins, no one cares. 49ers and Cardinals. Chiefs, Broncos. Broncos, I think, win and they're in. And then on Sunday Night Football, the last game of the regular season, Vikings, Lions for the 1 seed. How y'all feel about this Week 18 schedule?
I'll say this. Ravens, selfishly, it actually helps me because they're not playing on J5. So I can get my Ravens stuff out the way, and then I can focus on the greatest fraternity known to mankind, it's Kappa Alpha Psi, the next day. But look, as far as the Ravens, though,
finish him, Daddy.
If Lamar Jackson wants to get that MVP, he has to continue to make a statement. He lost to the Browns earlier this year. He needs to solidify, get that division, because we're hearing, and we'll go into more depth about it tomorrow. But one of the minuses when it comes to Lamar Jackson is that he's not winning the division. He has a chance to do that, and he has another chance to, on primetime television, show up and show out. Josh Allen had a good game, but I don't think he had a standout game. I think it was more of a team thing today. But of course, they're going to have every narrative out there for Lamar Jackson not to get this MVP.
Absolutely.
Lamar, go ahead, do what you've been doing on all these national platforms. As far as looking at the Bengals, I think that that's also a good move to you highlight the AFC North on Saturday. I think the Bengals actually win this football game, and I think the Bengals do get in. I don't think anybody wants to see the Bengals get in. I know that. Well, maybe it's because I haven't been a
I
Sean
know
Payton.
Buffalo don't want to see him, Dre.
Yeah, I think also. Well, you guys know how I feel about Sean Payton, especially how he showed up Russ. I was like yesterday. I was like, why don't you have that same energy for Bo Nix? Well, maybe it's because Bo Nix did bark back at him earlier this year, so I don't know if he wanted to smoke with the young boy. But I just seeing that game yesterday with the Bengals, I knew that they could win, but that showed you the Bengals are just a dangerous team. If they get in, that's one of those teams I feel like they can make a huge playoff run. And you see that uh, in spite of everything, they're still in contention. And like you said, they faced Buffalo. They beat Buffalo before in the playoffs. I just heard Maurice Jones-Drew say that Buffalo want to face. They would rather face the Ravens than the Bengals. I don't know what type of dark liquor. I don't know what type of eggnog or champagne that he's sipping on right now.
Like
But
that thing.
but brother, whatever you on, they don't want to see either team. But Ravens beat the brakes off them earlier this year, and the Bengals would win in a shootout. So I don't think anybody wants to see the Bengals. I'm rooting for the Bengals to actually get in. The Ravens, I know we've barely beat this team by the skin of our teeth, but we've shown that we can beat this team. So I think it would be cool to get the Bengals in there, and like I said, the Ravens for them to show up and show out.
Well, the Chargers clinch over the Patriots 40-7, and I don't want another horrible, because John's been so dominant against them, which is kind of scary. But we might get that again if the Ravens are the 3 seed. By the way, that's
I
a little.
feel like-
That makes me a little nervous. Makes me a little nervous.
The only reason I'm not nervous is because I think the Chargers are about a year or two away. I feel
But
like
Harbaugh getting to see Lamar twice in the same season. Ooh, that defense is flying around. I'm a little nervous. I'd be a little nervous. I'm not gonna lie.
It'll be it's not going to be a blowout game.
It might come down to Tucker.
It'll be a closer game, but I just feel like the Chargers. We knew that they would probably make the playoffs under Harbaugh, but we still feel like they're still missing some components, and they know that too. They have decent running backs. They're working on the O-line, but there's still some other things that they need to have in place in order for them to make a playoff run. Because remember, not only do they have to go through the Ravens, they still got to win their own division and get past the Chiefs. So that's why I said that until they can start like tying with the Chiefs or splitting with the Chiefs, I'm not quite sold yet on the Chargers.
Crevonte, how do you feel about the bottom of the AFC playoff picture? You got 3 teams, 2 spots. Chargers are in. It comes down to the Bengals and Broncos.
So I heard that the Chiefs are resting their starters. So I don't know how true that is, but if they rest their starters, the Broncos might lock up that last spot. I would love to see the Bengals pretty much backdoor themselves into the playoffs, because Joe Burrow, he's been playing outside of his mind. If they didn't come out the gate so slippery defensively, he would be in the MVP conversation along with Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen. But
and Saquon.
And Saquon, of course. Saquon and Derrick Henry outside shot, you know what I'm saying? But I think it's Saquon and then Derrick Henry. I they're both right there. You know what I'm saying? Showing some love to the running backs. But I would love to see the Bengals in the playoffs. So I hope maybe somehow, some way, maybe the Chiefs just play a quarter or maybe Carson Wentz have a game. What if Carson Wentz has a game and
At
he
least the
finds a
first
way
half.
and you know what I'm saying? If they play the first half and Carson Wentz finished them off and the Broncos end up losing. And then the Bengals, I think the Bengals will beat the Steelers, and the Bengals find a way, in that the 7th seed. So which means they will go to Orchard Park, and play the Bills, which would be crazy. But it's looking like the leaning Denver Broncos right now to get that last spot. I know it's probably gonna be the Steelers. The Steelers at 5.
Yeah, Steelers would be the 5 seed. Now I don't know how the seeding could work. They're 10-6. Steelers are 10-6. So if the Chargers win and the Steelers lose, the Chargers could leapfrog the Steelers and get that 5 seed. That is Houston. That's the sweet spot.
Oh my gosh! Oh, that's a spot right there. You want the 5 seed. In the AFC, you want the 5 seed because Houston is struggling right now. So the 5 seed is a nice little sweet spot.
You know what? I'd rather have the Steelers. I'd rather play the Steelers again than play the Chargers. Now that I think about it.
You know what? He's right.
I get that. Yes.
Russ is falling apart again. I don't think the offense is. I think we're seeing Mike Tomlin. As much as we slide hardball, he's starting to fall apart, and it's starting to become true. A lot of people have said once he gets his winning season, he's like, I'm out. I don't care no more.
I don't think it's that he cares. I don't think it's that he doesn't care. I think it's just kind of the same old Steelers. I think that they had an easy schedule at first, and we knew that when they got to this portion of the season, we would see the real Pittsburgh Steelers, and we're getting the real Pittsburgh Steelers. Justin Fields, Russ did well early, but when you play against playoff contending teams, you see that you're not quite at the table yet. You're still at the kids table, but it's certain teams that are at the big boy table, and they're not quite there yet. They're almost there, but they're not quite there yet.
I think I felt like it was going to eventually come to light. Like the quarterback position was eventually going to show itself, and it always does. Usually the cream rises. You know what I'm saying? It always rises. Like the better quarterbacks, for the most part, typically come out on top. And Russell Wilson is nobody's best quarterback, especially in the AFC. So eventually this was what happened. Like as well as the defense was playing, there was no way to be able to keep that up because the offense wasn't running the same race. You know what I'm saying? George Pickens he was hurt for a game here and there, and when he's not in the game, it's like this offense is not the same. And Najee Harris, you know what I'm saying? They didn't even pick up his 5th-year option. He got another 1,000 yards rushing,
which is
but
crazy.
It just doesn't look. It's not consistent. The offense is not consistent. But I feel like the Steelers' offense has never really been consistent. And they have they got Arthur. They got coach. Their OC is Arthur.
Arthur Smith.
Arthur Smith. I don't think he's that good. I'm being honest with you. I don't think he's that good as an offensive coordinator, offensive coach, whatever. Is really bland. And the Steelers, it's no creativity in Pittsburgh offensively, but they know how to get right defensively. But eventually you got to put up some points. You got some heavy hitters in the AFC.
And that's sometimes the problem with these defensive head coaches. They think that they got the guy who can do enough, and it's not like back in the day when you needed a running back and a good defense. Now, Sunday night just showed you need a quarterback. You need a guy who's going to be able to go down there, make some dynamic plays, and he's got to be a dual threat. And I mean, Joe Burrow isn't like a running guy, but he's a guy when it comes to being a quarterback. Lamar Jackson, we know what he can do from the quarterback position. You're competing with those two. And the Steelers are lucky the Browns don't have a quarterback, because the Browns have all the components too, just like the Steelers, except they just don't have the quarterback. Yeah. If they had a quarterback, the Steelers would be that team on the outside looking in.
What
Let's
what
get
is
good.
what is up with the Steelers and getting these wild ass wide receivers, yo? Like,
You know, every team has a thing. The Ravens, we've been able to produce linebackers. The Steelers, they've been able to just produce wide receivers. They know who to get and what's going to fit for their system, and it just happens every time. I mean, we could talk about um, uh, Hines Ward, Plexical Burrows,
Antonio
and
Brown,
Antonio Brown. What was it? Antonio Holmes.
Santonio Holmes.
Santonio Holmes. Yeah, they've been able to get some guys. So,
But it's like they not quite right in the head. Like they're a little off. At least the last couple have been off, yo. And Pickens, they crashing out on somebody.
mm-hmm.
How do y'all see the NFC playing out? Crevonte, I'll start with you. It's pretty much what the Lions play tomorrow. Apparently, this will be the most wins, regardless of what happens tomorrow on Monday night, because the Lions play the 49ers. I think they're going to dog walk them. But this will be the most wins between two teams in NFL history in a single game on Sunday night next week.
Wow.
So,
and it's funny because the Lions of all organizations, of all teams, is a part of that equation. Is crazy. Yeah. I can't believe it's gonna be crazy because between the Lions and the Vikings, there's going to be a 5 seed with 1,000 wins. You know what I'm saying? And it's going to be really unfortunate for one of them, but it is going to be a showdown in week 18. That Sunday night game, oh my gosh, it's going to be a showdown, and it's going to be for not only the division but for the number 1 seed. So is it going to go through Detroit or is it going to go through Minnesota? It's really going to be crazy in the NFC. The Packers are an interesting team right now because they get a little inconsistent, you know, on the offensive side of the ball, and they have to continuously dig themselves out of holes. That's not a good formula going into the playoffs, especially if we're able to get the 6th seed and they have to go to Philly. That's not a team you want to dig a hole into. But we know the Packers, when they on. They could be as good as, you know, anybody in the NFC. I'm interested to see how the South plays out because pretty much we kind of we gave a big hand to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So that'll be interesting at the 4th spot, but I think they're gonna lose to whoever is in the 5th spot, whether it's the Lions or the Vikings. But it's gonna be some very, very interesting matchups. And in SoFi, if the Commanders go to SoFi, that's gonna be a crazy matchup.
Might be a home game, low key for y'all.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of all those traveling fans.
Hey,
First
man,
playoff since 2020. No playoff win since 2005. Obviously, we'll get into that, but just throwing it out there. Yeah, just some nuggets. I keep the information coming. Try to keep the stats.
Sheesh, man. But at least in SoFi, you know, it's all types of fans out there. So it ain't a real home game it wouldn't be a real home game for the Rams. So, you know, maybe we could get a small advantage, you know, on that side of the game. But the NFC is going to be crazy.
And Detroit looks a little wounded. I know them. I keep saying it, man. I feel like those injuries are going to catch up to them at some point. Don't know when. And it could be next Sunday night, and they could lose to be the 5 seed. And hey, we saw it last year. Let's not forget Baker took them to the limit last year in the playoffs. The Tampa Bay team could have won it, Dre. I know you're a big Baker guy. How do you feel about the NFC? It's never an easy out. Like I said, it's always some upset. So somebody going to get got.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, you just said it yourself. You know, that was an upset last year with the Buccaneers. Even though we saw the Eagles falling apart, we still saw the Buccaneers upset them. So it's somebody that is going to be out there we're not expecting from the NFC. I mean, the Falcons tonight, if the Falcons could have got in, and they almost damn near, you know, had it, but just unfortunate with the overtime rules, just couldn't get in. But I think the Bucs are a scary team if they get in. I think that the Rams are a scary team. I think that the Eagles are going to just implode. I know a lot of people are saying that the Eagles can go all the way. Detroit has too many injuries. It's so many storylines within the NFC. But I'm telling you now, if the Vikings get that number 1 seed, they are at least going to the NFC Championship game.
Okay.
At least. And they might go to the Super Bowl. But I have to see how everything
You buying
plays
Sam
out.
Darnold? I don't know.
I have to see how things play out, but I have.
Is midnight going to strike for Cinderella? Is it going to slip?
I think they at least, if they get the number 1 seed, Byron, they're going to the NFC Championship game, bro. At least I'm telling you now. It's something.
DJ, hit it.
Look, they've shown something tonight with that Packers game. I think they'll be able to beat the Lions next week.
Save your pick, though, brother. Save your pick. Don't give it all away to the people yet.
That's a dangerous team, man. It's a dangerous team.
Drizzy Dre, thank you for joining us, man. Tomorrow, one of the shows I always look forward to, man, episode 472, but 2024's final flagship podcast episode. We recap the year that was.
Yeah, a lot to still even get into. Got picks from both the NFL and college.
Oh boy!
Got
yes, big week.
You know, we've got WWE on Netflix. This is the final Raw on cable on USA before they move to streaming so that's going to be huge to talk about. I mean, just those 2 things alone, we'll take up the show, and then, like you said, a review of the year. Our picks for our picks during the season. Our race has been close, so it's a lot to get into tomorrow, gentlemen. And then, as we also move into 2025, behind the scenes, we're working with some of our guests to get some new guests in, bring back some old guests like my man, Brother Thoughts. Thank you for checking us out, man, and congratulations for the Rams getting in. I told you, the Rams. Congratulations to our boys, CJ and AJ, for the Vikings getting in. And we're also, our man True, he wants to come back on. Corey, he's reached out, he wants to come back on. There's a lot of people trying to get in. So if you've been with the Flex Zone, you already know what it is. Come on, be a part of it before this thing blows up, y'all. We're gonna be on the up and up.
Yeah, and we are ending the year amazing. We got episode 472. We'll be recapping, and I think Tuesday, Crevonte, it's going to have to be Tuesday, maybe. I don't know what your schedule's like during the day. Maybe Tuesday we're going to do something with Goofies.
Yeah, we have to. I'm going to do. We'll break down. Well, I'll see how Monday's show go, because when breaking down the season, we got to talk a little bit about Goofies. But I'm gonna try to do a top 3 Goofies of the year, and I got a lot to choose from, so I got to sit down and break it all down. So yeah, but it's gonna be fun. But yeah, we got to do it. We got to find time on Tuesday to do it.
And we got at least 2 more Washington Commanders post-game shows, Week 18, and the postseason edition of the Washington Commanders post-game show, Crevonte. Intriguing when the Ravens play and when the Commanders will play. And also, if you guys don't know, Amazon does have a playoff game, by the way. So do with that what you will.
Come on now, you knew Amazon was going to get
just
in on
preparing
that
you
money.
now.
Amazon was going to get in on that money.
Hey, Netflix is coming too for that money.
Netflix coming. And they came in heavy. It wasn't a good product, but it was a good broadcast.
Look, anytime you bring in the Queen, you damn right it's a good broadcast. You know what I mean?
That's right. That's right.
But yes, we are going to be recapping the year that was tomorrow, episode 472. I'm going to gather all the sports stories, non-sports stories, all those who we've lost. I'm going to gather it all together. We'll hit the ground running with that. We'll recap, look ahead to Week 18, get game ball, not so game ball, do the picks. We got big college games, Crevonte, the Ohio State, Penn State. Maybe we can squeeze a preview out of you before Wednesday. We'll see how that goes. Well, they play Thursday. No, they play Wednesday. They're in first. They play Wednesday. But we'll get that. Wednesday afternoon, by the way. 3 games on Wednesday, 1 on Tuesday. So got the college football picks. We got AEW this week, January 1st. SmackDown, we may be here. I may not be here. It's going to 3 hours. I may not be here, but we're going to be back. Saturday, we'll be back. Ravens postgame show, Sunday postgame show. And we'll have to slide a Commanders preview in at some point. Maybe we'll go live Saturday night after the Bengals and Steelers game. Just go ahead, give the people more content and do the Commanders preview, talk about what happened with the AFC North Saturday. So 2 streams in one night. We'll get that out the way on Saturday as well. And January 6th, set your calendars. We're expecting one of the biggest streams we've ever done as Raw goes to Netflix. We're calling out all the big guns. We may even get Crevonte to run in and join the party. Got Travis Scott debuting brand new music. We got the final boss, The Rock. We got John Cena retirement and all the other stuff in between. And then that Tuesday will be the preview of the playoffs on the Flex Zone. And of course, next Sunday we'll be live, or some of us will be live, with the playoff preview after Sunday Night Football, Lions and Vikings. Executive producer, Andre Melton. Co-founder, senior producer, the Commanderlorain, Crevonte. The other co-founder, the voice of reason. And yours truly, God's favorite host, back with you as always. Thank you guys for watching all the content on the channel. Dre, Crevonte, anything else before we get out of here?
Man, rest in peace to Jimmy Carter. Man. Fortunately, we closed out the year losing a good one. Happy birthday to my mama. Her birthday is officially today. So
that's right, mama.
Birthday to her.
Happy birthday, Mama Dre.
Happy birthday, and also rest in peace to 100-year-old former President Jimmy Carter. The 2024 had to give us one more jab before they got up out of here. But it is a great time to be a Commanders fan right now. However it ends, we had a hell of a year, hell of a run, and I'm excited to see what the future holds for this organization.
Oh, if you guys are into wrestling, I did my predictions for 2025. Want to get inside my mind? What are my bold predictions for 2025? I did it in a video today. Got predictions of all types: WWE, NXT, retirement matches, champions, King of the Ring, Money in the Bank. I do it all. 20 minutes of great content. Leave a comment. Let me know your prediction as well. We streamed Crevonte from 5:30 in the morning this year to even yesterday with the AEW, and we start things on the 6th with the Netflix stream as well. For Crevonte, for Dre, we'll see you tomorrow, episode 472. We're ending the year with a bang. We're recapping all the great moments, sports and non-sports. We got to talk about the election, those we've lost, the big moments in and outside, the Travis Hunter situation. Oh, Colorado gets dog walk Crevonte. Got a lot to get into, and we're going to do it tomorrow, episode 472, with you, for Dre, for Crevonte, and Raj. Hear these thoughts. Everybody in the chat, thank y'all for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, hit that bell on the way out, and vote on the poll. How far do the Commanders go? Wild card, divisional, conference championship, or Super Bowl? We'll be here each step of the way, as long as it goes, to break it all down with you as we will, along with the Ravens. Ravens on Saturday afternoon. We'll have a post game. Then we'll have a Commanders preview Saturday night, recapping the action from the Bengals and Steelers, getting you ready for Week 18. And then we'll be live Sunday afternoon, immediately following Commanders Cowboys. Sound good? Sound good. Sir. We out of here. Have a good night, everybody. Put the kids to bed. Even though it's Christmas break, take their asses to bed. For Dre and Crevonte, happy birthday, Mama Dre. We gone, y'all. We'll see you tomorrow, episode 472.
I like it, Dre.
God, yeah.
see who